What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Guzman's Gridiron, presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia, live from the Double Eagle Saloon and Deck Bar. A little bit of change in schedule this week, so we're here on a Thursday, so we have a little more intel coming out of the bye week to provide you guys to get ready for Friday Night Lights. Back at Gatone Stadium this week. It's KB and Coach Guzman. Coach, how was the bye week? It's a nice, blissful week off from just game preparation, but you have that extra week to get ready for the opponent, which we'll get into more Washington Township like we did last week. We'll add on to that more in depth, but how was the bye week?
Bye week was really good. We got some productive practice going in, leading up to, of course, this week in playing Washington Township. And then the kids got some needed rest. They needed to rest. We've been going at it every day, 3.5 hours at a clip. So they need their time. So they got a day off there, and it all served its purpose because we had a real great week this week as well. So we're going in, ready and prepared.
Bye week gives you that time off from game action, not really having to rush guys back to get ready for games. I know we've been dealing with a few injuries. Let's check in on some of those guys. How's the injury status of most of the guys that have been out the past couple of weeks going into this one? And, how was, practice injury-wise? Hopefully everybody, got through the bye week pretty unscathed.
As far as injuries are concerned, the injury bug has kind of bit us. But at the end of the day, we're getting players back, healthy. We're getting players back like Carter. He's back in the fray. We're getting players back like Wilson. He's back, not from injury, but, he had to go on that 4-game hiatus due to his transfer status. We got a few nicks as far as practice is concerned, but nothing to be alarmed of. So we're ready. We're ready to go for Friday.
The long-awaited debut, I should say, for Jules. We talked a little bit about him last week and the anticipation of him finally getting ready to get ready for game action. What's this week of practice been like from your guys' perspective, watching him, knowing that he's ready to go, be unleashed, and get his first game action in a Fighting Clan uniform?
So Julius is, he's biting at the bit. He's been ready since day one. However, again, due to the transfer status, you got to abide by the rules. So I'm waiting to see fireworks with this kid. As far as his approach to practice, it's been methodical. It's been thought out. It's been, he's a film junkie. So he's ready to go, and we're ready to see him in action.
I'm sure Coach Smith is chomping at the bit even more,
right.
Ready to kind of just play with this new shiny toy that's
Absolutely.
been locked away, for the last 4 weeks and just in the cabinet, ready to break it out. And, how excited is he to implement, this new feature to the defense with Jules?
So Coach Smith is elated. Coach Shelton is elated. It's just solidifying our linebacking core. He brings a lot to the table. From covering guys to coming downhill as far as, stopping the run. Very diverse approach to his game. So, again, we're excited to have him, and we're excited to see him be unleashed on Friday come, game day.
How was, this extra week of preparation to utilize that to your advantage, really hone in on film study, really get, the things that you guys want to install that may be new or just tweaking some things? What was this extra week of preparation like, just from knowing there wasn't a game and it was just kind of like we can dial in even more than we have, these past couple of weeks because we have this week to work with and utilize to our advantage?
It was nice to have that bye week in a sense because we kind of killed two birds with one stone. We went ahead, game planned offensively and defensively, special teams, of course, for Washington Township. but it also gave us some time to kind of let our kids be our kids. There was a lot of one-on-one action as far as linemen go. Linemen were going at it one-on-ones. Wide receivers and D-backs were going at it one-on-ones as far as the running backs as well. So there was a lot of individual work that was going on with a lot of competition. So it was nice. The kids were competing against each other on 7-on-7 skelly, things of that nature, which brought out a nice array of emotions, if you will, from our kids. But again, it was really nice as far as the dynamics were concerned. As far as practice, it was just a little different. It was geared more towards kind of letting them be a little loose as far as our normal approach to practice, but we still went about our business and got all facets of the game handled during the bye week and during this, week of practice as well.
The age-old saying, iron sharpens iron. To have that competitive nature in practice and kind of unleash these guys a little bit more on one another to really, help them grow as players and kind of figure out what can I do to improve my game against somebody who knows my game as well as they do because they see me every day in practice.
Right.
From a coaching perspective, how fun is that to just take that in and watch how that approach kind of unfolds in a practice session between an offense and a defense?
It's special because now you have for instance, you might have your number one receiver going up against your number one D-back. So things get exposed. Maybe offensively, maybe defensively, maybe both. So it's nice in that sense where we're getting that top-tier competition back and forth, whether it's offense, defense, or, again, special teams. So we took that and we really saw it as a positive for our team.
For you guys as a staff, to take this bye week in, did you use it as kind of, just self-evaluation as well to really take in this first chunk of the season, this first half, if you will, and utilize what worked well for us, what are some things we want to improve on as a staff, and how was kind of the communication factor, which has been great all year between you guys, as we've noted, week in and week out
Absolutely.
on this show. But how was that kind of just, dissecting a first half of a season as a collective coaching staff?
It just shows that fluid nature we work with, amongst ourselves. I mean, it's there. It's so it's alive. And again, as far as communicating all the facets from, I'm talking 7-on-7s back in the spring, all the way through. We kind of, sat as a group, as a collective, and we went over all those little facets maybe that, you kind of take advantage of during that bye week so that you can prepare even more so for the rest of the season. You kind of look back and see little, maybe not so great approaches that maybe we had. I'm talking staff-wise, not even the kids. So we kind of honed out a lot of the excess fat, if you will, and we streamlined our practices as well as our approach to practice and games moving forward second half of the season.
And I think, just as a staff, you learn that week in and week out from preparation for you guys of okay, what's worked really well, we'll keep that in the fold. But, maybe we're emphasizing too much here and it's not really paying off. Right. Let's get rid of that and see what we can use that energy for and that time and attention to detail to improve in areas that we know that we can improve upon.
Absolutely. Again, it was a way for us to go ahead, cut out the excess fat that we don't really need, and also implement some new things, which we did offensively and defensively and special teams. So we, again, took advantage totally of that bye week. And, again, we're biting at the bit for this game tomorrow.
Washington Township is on deck. They're coming into town for the first time in a couple of years. Obviously, we were there last year, but it always seems, with this rivalry, it's always wet. Last year, it was like a tsunami at Washington Township. Now this year, there's rain in the forecast.
Yes.
Obviously today at practice, you get to handle the elements a little bit, but overall, how do you prepare for the elements like that to, even if it, hypothetically, say it was, bright and sunny today and then the forecast is going to change. How do you guys as a staff kind of prepare these guys for what the weather conditions can kind of be? Is it one of those things that it is a lot of just mental that you have to lock in on and know, hey, it's going to be raining. The elements are going to be alive. You got to be ready for it. Is it one of those things where you're practicing like, hey, let's, take water and we'll douse the footballs and we'll, give you that physical feel of what it could be like? What is preparing for outside elements kind of like for the first time for you guys this year too?
So, believe it or not, we've been out in these elements since Monday, of this week. Even during the bye week, I believe that Friday it rained a little. So we've been practicing in that. There's no shying away from the rain at all. I actually, was very excited in that the first 3 days of practice, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was raining. Monday was raining. I mean, it was soaked out there. We were out there, for 3.5 hours. Tuesday, 3.5 hours. Wednesday, 3.5 hours. I mean, they are not just mentally prepared for this game. The elements were present, which is nice because they know exactly what they're going to face come Friday.
How much attention to ball security comes into play when you're preparing for a rain game and knowing that during practice it is raining? How much added emphasis to ball security comes into play? Because obviously that's a huge thing. Turnovers can change the landscape of a game. And
absolutely.
When it's pouring rain outside, the ball's going to get slippery and your hands are going to get slippery.
Absolutely. So, again, ball security is key. That's one of the elements that we focus on. We make sure that every running back, quarterback, any skill guy that's touching that ball, we make sure they're holding the ball high and tight. In traffic, it's 2 hands on the ball. And when that ball is wet, we make sure we tell them, you better get a grasp of that football. That's the key. You hold on to the football, we have a better chance of getting a winning outcome.
And on the flip side, defensively, obviously, you want to get turnovers. You want to, secure the ball if it's in your hands. Is it also kind of a similar situation for those D-backs, those linebackers who are getting their hands up and are able to go and make plays defensively? Is the preparation there to go secure the ball? If you're able to, put a hand on it, bring it down, 2 hands when you're going up for an interception. Don't try to be flashy in the rain.
Absolutely. All those key elements are, emphasized during practice, as well as in the rain with that ball being a little jittery. We have the kids punching at the ball. We have the kids, swiping at the ball, double punching through the ball. We have opportunistic players on that defense. And, again, all of those little skills, Coach Shelton, Coach Smith, myself, as well as the rest of the staff, we go ahead and make sure that it's emphasized every single practice. Rain, sleet, or snow, we're emphasizing all those little things that can cause an opportunity for us on defense. So,
who are some guys this week, with that added preparation factor that you guys have had from the bye week that really stood out to you guys as a staff that maybe, stepped their game up in practice that extra level? They took advantage of that extra week of preparation. It's like, oh, come game day, we're looking for you to go out and make plays.
I would say all our defensive guys have, but to throw some names out there, Mark Mutcherson, Saquon, of course, Mason. Ball hawks. You know what I mean? Julius Wilson. Ball hawk. So we have the guys, Noah Cruz. These guys are biting at the bit to make plays every play, not just once in a while. Every play they're looking to make a play on the ball so that way we can cause a turnover and cause an opportunity for our offense to get back on the field.
It does feel like this defense, too, for the first time in a long time, it's not just one singular guy who is the ball hawk. There's 4 or 5 of them back there that at any given moment they can track that ball like it's a Doppler radar,
yes.
all weather pun intended,
Absolutely.
And can go up and get an interception for this team. Feels like it hasn't been that way in years past, where it was a lot of emphasis on one defensive player that was kind of the guy to go and track and play that free safety position.
Right.
Now you got corners, you got DBs all over that have kind of come up together and have that communication factor as well.
Absolutely.
How fun is that? Watching that unravel too, and watching the confidence grow with some of those guys where maybe this wasn't a traditional role for them in years past, but now
right.
They've stepped up. They're in this new role defensively, and they're taking, full reins. You look at, Mason Afanador. You look
Absolutely.
at, Saquon Anderson, who's been all over the ball this year. And it's guys that we haven't really heard their names too much in years past, but now it's their time to shine, and they're taking advantage of every moment. And another one is Mark Mutcherson.
Absolutely. Again, I can't say enough about our kids. They come, to play. They come with their hard hats on, whether it's offense or defense. And in this case, defensively, again, they're just looking to make turnovers happen, opportunistic plays happen for our offense to get back on that field. Again, all our kids are giving their 100%. They're giving their all, and that's all we ask as a staff. We can't ask for no more. We always tell them, give us 100%. Make sure that you execute on each and every play, and the probability of a win is in our favor. So again, kudos to our kids.
And then on top of that, you're bringing Jules into the fold. Noah Cruz has been an absolute dog at the linebacker position all year long so far. And knowing the talent that Julius is bringing to the table, to have those two who can go and chase after a quarterback, go and wreak havoc and blow up a play at any given time, to make that quarterback make a split-second decision that any of those 5-6 guys back there who can go and make an interception in that secondary,
right.
To have two of those guys now that are just, absolute dogs.
Absolutely.
Hunting down the quarterback.
Absolutely.
How much more fun is it going to be to watch what this secondary can do unfold now that you're gaining even more pressure after the quarterback and making the quarterback make decisions that he doesn't want to make?
Again, the maturation process for our DBs and our skill guys has been phenomenal on defense and on offense as well. We see the growth, and all we can ask again is on defense they communicate, on offense they communicate, and they're doing that. They're communicating with each other on the field, and it shows on plays. Like we'll be sitting back sometimes and watching the game, and I'll get into Coach Shelton's ear, Coach Smith's ear, Coach Wimbish's ear, and I'll be like, did you see that? Did you see the play? Sometimes they just amaze you in how they read the play. It's not just picking a hole and, all right, I'm just going to throw myself in. No, they're reading their guards if they're linebackers, to the near back. They're reading their keys, on special teams or offense or defense. So it's an array of different things that they are utilizing, that they're picking up throughout the years. So it's nice to see them mature in the game. It's really nice.
And then offensively, preparation this week, how has the offense, taken advantage of this extra week of preparation to get some new things installed, get some new looks prepared coming out of this bye week that Washington Township may not be prepared for?
I'll tell you what, without unleashing anything out there, it's going to be, I can promise you one thing, it's going to be a physical ball game. It's going to be a physical ball game. Anytime it's rain, that means the ball's going to be on the ground a lot. So, they're a ground and pound team. We're a ground and pound team. So, at the end of the day, whoever holds on to that ball and executes is going to come out with the victory. So, again, we're hoping for the W to come here right down to Vineland.
Absolutely, and we are here at the Double Eagles Saloon and Deck Bar right here in Vineland, New Jersey. You can come out typically Monday night, to watch Guzman's Gridiron live. And if you can't make it live, it always goes up on the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe there, because we set it as a premiere, and it's like watching live TV. It's a phenomenal feature that YouTube allows creators to use. So if you want to watch along, be sure to do that, or come on out live here.
Absolutely.
Support a local business. Shout out to Robbie Bono and the entire Double Eagle staff. What are some things you're looking forward to in a game like this from the offense to kind of use their skills and their strengths, especially, football's won in the trenches. Everybody
Absolutely.
knows that, whether it's offense or defense. What are some things you guys are looking forward to from this offense to utilize in a game like this, in conditions like this, that will enable their strengths to be showcased and used to your advantage?
I'll tell you this much. In a perfect world, when it's rain out there, I would want to throw 0 times. 0. Run the ball. Mano a mano. Let's see where your heart's at. As I always say to my kids, let's see where your heart's at. And, I have extreme confidence in our offense, from our offensive line to our skill guys. All they have to do, I always tell them, offensive line, you stay with your blocks. You let our skill guys do their thing, we're going to be fine. Even if it's 3 yards here, 4 yards there, guess what? 3, 4, 3, that's 10 yards. That's all. In 3 plays. I would have no problem grinding the clock and grinding that field down to get to the end zone. Zero problem. At the end of the day, a win's a win. Whether it's 7-0, 3-0, it's a win. So all I'm expecting from my kids this Friday, execute, do it with class, win with class, lose with class if that's our outcome, but execute and stay with the play to the whistle.
And like you said, with class, it's a new era rivalry like we talked about on the
Absolutely.
last episode. And we're going to talk about the rivalry, and it's brought to you by our awesome sponsor, Allen Associates. And if you're looking for a reliable and experienced insurance agency that caters to all your needs, look no further than Allen Associates Insurance Services. With over 6 decades of experience under their belt, they specialize in health insurance, financial services, and accounting. And whether you're part of the public or private sector, they've got you covered. Their family-owned business currently helps upwards of 300 groups throughout New Jersey, providing them with the best insurance options available. You can now easily learn more and access all their services by visiting their brand new website, which is linked in the description on audio and on YouTube. So join the family, let them help you secure your future, and contact them today by calling 856-692-2250. That's 856-692-2250. Big thank you to Allen Associates for sponsoring Guzman's Gridiron.
Thank you.
It's a new era rivalry, Coach. Washington Township has been
Yeah.
on the schedule since this West Jersey Football League inception for whatever reason, and it feels like,
Absolutely.
the more and more it carries on, the more and more the rivalry feeds into being a rivalry.
Absolutely.
You can talk about rivals and talk about rivalries being formed, but unless there is that true back and forth, one team wins, another team wins, and then they get theirs back, and then it goes back and forth.
Right.
There's grit, there's tenacity, there's some mixed words in the
Right.
game and everything, all in the heat of battle, and it gets physical. It gets
Absolutely.
elements involved. How excited are you for this next chapter of minutes, up Route 55? So it is very fun to have that new era rivalry like we talked about last week, but this next chapter upcoming, how fun is that to prepare for?
It's extremely exciting. Nothing but respect for Washington Township and their kids. But yeah, it's nice to not just have our, of course, the rival next door, if you will. But to have these other little niche group rivals is pretty cool. The kids love it. It brings out the best, I'm sure, not just our kids, but Washington Township. So be prepared for a good, hard-hitting, not so good weather game. So bring your umbrellas or your ponchos, but I think it's going to be fireworks.
And I think it is one of those things that, you look at the years, and we talked about this last week too, when you guys do film study on these games and you look at how the rivalry comes to be and you point out plays that lead to that. Is there any particular game over the past couple of years between Township and Vineland that stands out to be like, there's the pinpoint mark of like, okay, this is when this came to be?
I would definitely have to say that it was at their house when we came back and beat them at their house for their homecoming. You're dealing with a lot of elements there. You're dealing with, the crowd being absolutely. I mean, their crowd was going insane. The whole game. Their student section insane. The whole game. They have a great following. And we went there, and of course we're the underdogs, and
The pomp and circumstances
yeah,
going on.
yes, and not only that, but the energy was electric that game, and it all came down to the last play of the game, and good old Vineland came out with the W on their homecoming, so we kind of spoiled their parade there, and I know for a fact that's what started it. That definitely started this beautiful rivalry we have with them.
And that's the fun part too. When you look at rivalries, it's, I heard somebody talking about it today. You want to be part of when the rivalry starts. You don't want to be just the next installation. You want to be around when it starts and to see how it gets formed. And then the build-up is there.
Yes.
You see these new rivals come into play across the board in all sports.
Right.
And when you're there from the beginning, it means that much
Yes.
more.
Yes.
How fun is it, watching some of these kids who are seniors this year, knowing that, they've been around, they've seen this Washington Township rivalry come to be. It's kind of festered over their 4 years in high school, and now they get to put their mark on this new rivalry.
It's going to be unbelievable for them. Once they step on that field and once they look across that field and they see, that opponent being Washington Township, it's gonna bring back a lot of memories through the years. Some good, some bad, but ultimately it's gonna help focus them into the job at hand, which is we need to get this W. So the kids know what's at stake. The staff knows what's at stake. So we've done our due diligence. The kids have done their due diligence. So again, let's see what happens come Friday night.
Being back at home too, you took your first road trip of the season before the bye week at Kingsway. To be back home, how nice and comforting is that? Knowing that the routine, the surface of the field you're playing on, the game day routine of going to Gatone Stadium, not having to get on a bus to travel, X amount of minutes away, whether it's Kingsway, whether it's, in a couple weeks Holy Spirit, whatever it may be, knowing that it's right in the backyard, being back home, having that home crowd there. How nice is that knowing you'll have that behind you guys as well?
I know it means the world to our kids, their families. It's going to be senior night. It's just a beautiful dynamic there. I'm excited for the kids. It's kind of also like a catch-22. I'm excited, but it's like my seniors are leaving me. You know what I mean? It's a weird feeling because I love these kids. So you get your happy spell where it's a good event for them, a great event for them. But then it's like you kind of sit back and repose, and wow, my guys they're one game closer to being gone into their respective careers, whether it be college or what have you, or playing football or not. At the end of the day, all I want and all our staff want is to have productive young men. Be citizens and give back to their communities.
Does that kind of fire you up a little bit more for this game too, knowing that senior night's on the horizon? You guys as a staff want to put them in the best position to go out and perform at the highest ability that that they can.
Absolutely. Again, we're fired up as a staff. We want nothing more than our seniors to go out on top. So this would be a nice kind of cherry on top, if you will, for our seniors. They deserve it. They're great kids.
So we're going to take a quick break for another word from our sponsors. We're going to talk more senior night. We're going to talk more about the new age rivalry here with Washington Township, get into the game a little bit, and then, of course, we'll wrap up with our alumni. But don't go anywhere. Right here on Guzman's Gridiron, presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia. This episode of Guzman's Gridiron is brought to you proudly by Allen Associates. And if you're looking for a reliable and experienced insurance agency that caters to all your needs, look no further than Allen Associates Insurance Services. With over 6 decades of experience under their belts, they specialize in health insurance, financial services, and accounting. Whether you're part of the public or private sector, they've got you covered. Our family-owned business currently helps upwards of 300 groups throughout New Jersey, providing them with the best insurance options available. You can now easily learn more and access our services by visiting our brand new website, AllenAssoc.com. That's AllenAssoc.com. Link is also in the description of this episode. So join the family and let us help you secure your future. Contact Allen Associates today by calling 856-692-2250. That's 856-692-2250. We want to thank Allen Associates for being a proud partner of Guzman's Gridiron, the official Vineland High School football coaches show on the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast network. Now, let's get back to the show. And welcome back, everybody. Thank you to Allen Associates for sponsoring the show all season long. Coach, like we mentioned, it's senior night. How much fuel to the fire does that add for that group, for this senior group, knowing that, they're going to get recognized. This is our night. We want to show out. We want to perform at our highest ability in front of our hometown, in front of our home crowd, and put on a show.
Again, our seniors are ready. They're ready mentally. They're ready physically. And all they want to do is do the best they can and help in any way they can for us to ultimately get a W come Friday. With their families being there and friends being there, it's just giving them that extra motivation to do and perform at the highest level that they can possibly perform.
Being back home, like we mentioned a little bit, to have that home field advantage in this game. It's been a couple years since Washington Township's come to town. To have the home field advantage in this one, to kind of know what that surface is like in the rain, to have that in your back pocket. How nice of an advantage is that, knowing, hey, we've played on this surface in the rain before. We know how it works. We know how it slides. We know how this turf adapts to being wet. We know how it drains. Washington Township doesn't really know how that works for this particular field. How nice is that little trap card in your back pocket?
I mean, it's always nice to have any type of one up, if you will, on a team or an opponent. However, whether you practice on grass, whether you practice on turf, at the end of the day, it comes down to the two letters, X's and O's. You gotta execute. So, is it kind of a little bit of a little feather under our cap? Sure. But again, it doesn't. In the long run, in the long scheme of things, you gotta execute. So it doesn't matter whether you're outside in the elements, inside, as long as you're going ahead, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, making sure that you're preparing the right way, having all the kids focused at the task at hand. It is what it is at the end. Doesn't matter what surface, in my opinion. Now, some people might say, "Oh no, coach." I mean, I played at a school where it was grass. That's it. And whether we went on turf or grass, the outcome was usually in our favor. So it didn't matter at the end of the day. It's how you prepare mentally, physically for that game week.
And how has, the film study, the mental preparation for this game, picking up on things from the past that you've seen from either last year's matchup or years past from kids returning from Washington Township, and then everything that you guys have picked up on this year with your own team in particular, your skills, your strengths, and some things that you also want to work on to go up against this Township team that they're just consistently, a very good team. They always churn out players consistently as units. They're good. What are some things that you guys have picked up on, during film and then implemented during practice that, you want to take advantage of? This is something that I know we can be successful with from what we've gathered on film and really implement into our game plan to be successful come Friday night.
Again, without tipping our hand, we know they have some players. Their quarterback, number one, hell of a player. Number 44, hell of a player, runs the ball hard. Number 3, their wide receiver, catches the football, tough kid. They have a pretty nice sized line up front as far as their offense. So we know what they have. Our kids have seen plenty of film, whether it's film time with us or film on their own. So we know what we're up against. However, we have some players on our side of the ball too, on all facets. So again, our coaches have done their due diligence, along with myself. Our kids have done their due diligence. So we're ready to go Friday. We're ready to go. No excuses.
We talked about it, a ton and just waiting for that moment to unlock Tank Powell this season. We kind of unlocked him in a different way against Kingsway. Is that something that, in a game like this that could come into play where you're using different players in different positions based on the elements, based on what you think their skill sets can be utilized as? Obviously, Tank has the speed. Let's put the football in his hands and let him be a mobile quarterback when our quarterback goes down injured. Is that something that comes into mind during preparation where it's like, okay, we know this person's capable of doing this. Maybe if we insert them into a different position because of what we're going to be going up against, we might have that as something to utilize as well.
Well, again, Tank did a great job for us, coming in for an injured Gavin. Gallo. We love Gavin Gallo. He's our quarterback. Again, we had the quarterback injury bug. With Jacob getting hurt, um, which allowed Gavin to go ahead and showcase his skills. But then again, Gavin goes down, and who comes in? Tyreem Powell showcases his skills and his ability. Very talented kid, um, you know, and it's going to be nice in that we can utilize both Gavin and Tyrell. So they've got to watch out for a dual threat situation back there. Um, and we'll see what other little tricks we have up our sleeve come Friday.
How important is, obviously the running game is going to be huge in this game for both teams because of the
Absolutely.
elements. Seeing somebody like Nas take another step forward,
Right.
and be a running back in this stable of running backs that you guys are fortunate to have, and being able to showcase his talents that he has, he's got the strength, but he's also got that open field burst and speed to utilize as well. How important is a player like Nas going to be in a game like this?
Again, Nazir is a downhill runner. Number 44 for Washington Township is a downhill runner. When you have these type of runners on your team, it just in a game where it's elements are involved, the rain, it's ugly out. These are the guys that can win you a ball game. Respectively for Washington Township, as I mentioned, with number 44. But again, Nazir, he's a downhill runner too. And then you got the likes of a change of pace back in Josh Cephas. So they're going to be dealing with some stuff that they've got to stop, and I'm sure we're going to be dealing with some stuff that we've got to stop. But at the end of the day, those that come out on top usually have no penalties or very few, and they executed on all three facets of the game.
In a game like this too, how valuable was a game earlier in the season like Bridgeton, where you go up by X amount of scores and are able to get different looks for different players, knowing that you have that film on them. We talked about this after the Bridgeton game, but knowing that you have that film on them to go back and look on and be like, okay, we're going to be dealing with this type of defensive set. We're going to be dealing with this type of offensive set. Elements involved. We got a chance to look at player X here because we were up and got film on them to know how they play in a game situation. Let's utilize that and put them into this install.
Again, it's nice because you can actually utilize different pieces that you have in your toolbox, if you will. And that's what we did. We utilized an array of backs, being so that we were up so much. Talking about the Bridgeton game, it allowed for other people to come in and really showcase their skills. And because of that, we've utilized them in other games. And we've got packages designed for each and every one of them. So, again, it's something that, you kind of look at and say, okay, well, we can utilize this person in this aspect of the game. Oh, wait, he doesn't just run the ball. He can block, too. Oh, wait, he can catch the ball, too. Okay. All right, so you kind of learn all these little things that maybe you didn't see during 7-on-7s or during any type of scrimmages that we had prior. So again, it's just nice to have that and be able to utilize it in the game.
I think one of the undervalued aspects of a game in the elements is footwork. Mm-hmm. Knowing foot placement, knowing how your feet are going to move on a altered surface, mm-hmm. and staying healthy because of that. Because if you plant your foot wrong, bad things can happen. If you step out wrong, if your foot gets caught in the turf because of the elements, you're in for a bad day. How much of an emphasis and, how has that been communicated to these guys to be like, hey, you got to have proper footwear, you got to have proper foot placement as well, Absolutely. And your footwork has to be pristine in these types of conditions.
Again, we utilize any type of, advice as a staff to give our kids, while they're out there practicing, even foot placement, separation, all of these things, these little maybe nuances that you might not think, well, it's not that big of a deal, right? No, it is a big deal because it might cause a little bit of a shift in your body to where now all of a sudden you're looking at your legs planted here, but your body's going that way, you know, which can at the end of the day cause a very bad injury, you know. So all the little things that, you know, maybe other teams or other coaching staffs maybe not, you know, harp on, we do. All the little things, and we tell them it's the little things. The little things take care of the big things, you know. So, you know, that's always instilled in our kids.
And, you know, even with the emphasis on the little things, how much is it to be, you know, also in their heads, don't over-focus, because then if you're overthinking about it, you're going to try to do too much, change what you already do, and then that can lead to disaster as well.
Absolutely. Again, we as a staff emphasize, you know, this is something where you have to let your instincts take over. It's muscle memory. You already have it in you. Don't think, just play. And it's almost to the point where we'll tell them, you know when you were little and you used to play sandlot football with your buddies, you got to have that type of carefree attitude that you're happy playing the sport, not just, oh wait, I got to make this play over here. If you're doing that while you're out there, it's curtains. I don't care who you are.
Before you
know?
even step on the field.
Yeah, it's just curtains. You got to have fun while you're playing. And you got to execute everything that you learned through, you know, during your whole tenure as a football player. You got to put all that together and just instinctually play, you know, and you'll get to the ball quicker. You'll do your moves quick. Everything comes quicker when you play out of instinct instead of a robot.
And in a game like this too, you know, we talked about the ball hawks. They're going to be relied more to be able to make tackles, come down into the box, stop that downhill run that Washington Township presents. How much, you know, communication there has been, hey, a lot of this game more than likely is going to be you using your tackling skills and using, you know, on the fly, being able to think and maneuver through the tackle box here and be able to stop somebody who's coming at you full force rather than using your finesse and your skill to go up, run a route with a receiver, and try to make a play on the ball.
Again, we've been telling them since the bye week, this game will be a physical game. You know, not because, you know, anything other than, we've already built this rivalry with them years ago. So they're looking for, you know, they're looking to keep at that little niche and that little chip on their shoulder, as we are as well. So we're looking for a dynamic and physical ball game. Period. That's just that. I can't say it any other way. It's going to go down in Vineland on Friday.
How special and important, all pun intended, there is special teams in a game like this as well. Knowing that, you know, you're dealing with the elements one way or another, and
Absolutely.
having to put the ball in the air, whether you're punting, kicking, whatever it may be, and also on kick return. How much emphasis you have to put on securing that football. How much of a play do you think special teams is going to have in this game, one way or the other?
Special teams are going to, in my opinion, it's going to make or break this game. It's going to come down to a big play on special teams, in my opinion. You know, we both run the ball hard up, you know, between the tackles. We're going to pick our spots and throw. So we're similar in our approach, Washington Township and Vineland. But again, special teams, I believe, is really going to set us apart, and it might just be the game winner. You never know. I'm calling it now.
How juiced up has Marcelino been for a game like this? As a former player, knowing he's been involved in this rivalry, you know,
right,
relatively recently,
right,
to gear up as the special teams coordinator as well. How fired up has he been this week?
Listen, that guy. Listen, we love Coach Marcelino. He's definitely a jolt of energy. He's always fired up, and I love it because it kind of, and I've told him before, it brings me back to when I started, you know, over 10 years ago, you know what I mean, coaching in Vineland, and I was that guy that was fired up, you know. So it's nice to see that, you know, he kind of he kind of was my underling and kind of took all that, and he's like, but coach, you know, come on, remember? I was like, as you were, bud, as you were, you know, because I can't be a hypocrite. I was fired up. I was always fired up. Now it's like, you're wearing a different hat, so you kind of gotta stay even keel. But the kids that know me know that I have a
It's like the
screw.
Jedi and the Padawan.
Yeah, I don't. There's a screw missing up here. You know what I mean? They know it, but I just keep it right here, right here. So.
And I mean, it looked like Marcelino was doing some scouting during the bye week. Took a trip up to the
Yeah.
Big House and went up to Michigan.
Yeah.
And one of our big time alumni had himself a game against one of the best teams in the country once again.
Once again, man. I mean, Mr. Powell, Tyreem. I'm telling you, he's going to the league.
It's week in and
I'm
week
telling
out.
you, he's going to listen.
You look at that defensive box
Tyreem
score.
Powell's going to the league. Period. The end. Point blank. And whoever doesn't pick him up, shame on you, because whoever does is going to have a baller. There it is. Said.
Boom.
Done.
Thursday, September 28th. We will come back in April when we are probably here for
And the
Tyreem's
number, yes,
draft party.
and Tyreem's number will go up, and somebody is going to pick Tyreem Powell.
And then we'll put the clip together, and it's
Yeah.
like, but
Remember?
we had it first.
Remember? We called it right here.
Please credit us. Another phenomenal game for him against the University
Absolutely.
of Michigan. It's
Absolutely.
week in and week out. You look at the top of that defensive box score. He's got 8 to 12 tackles. He's racking up
phenom.
sacks, forced fumbles.
He does it all, Kyle. He
It's
does
unreal.
It all. He's not just – see, this is the thing. Like, he's not just a great football player, right? He's a great leader. Great leader, man. And he's somebody that you want to be on your team. And it's nice to say that he's a Vineland native. It's nice to say that a lot of our kids played alongside of him, But this guy, whoever gets him, man, they strike. They're going to strike gold. I mean, they're not only getting a hell of a football player, they're getting a hell of a person on their team. Period. The end.
And, I mean, you look at that, and then flip side, maybe we can call Isaiah and see if we can get Taylor Swift on the show too, because
And the Swifties.
He's hanging with the Swifties now. Taylor
It's
Swift
unreal.
at Arrowhead.
Yeah. I mean, you can't write a better script, man. I mean, come on, Pop. Listen,
Pop scored a touchdown in front of Taylor Swift.
it's unreal. She's over there jumping up and down. I'm seeing her through the thing. I'm like, this is, how about Mr. Kelsey, huh? Mr. Kelsey's loving
All
life.
right now.
It's just, listen, dude, that guy is just incredible. Pop he's something else, man. He is something else. He's always a breath of fresh air. He landed in the ultimate of situations as far as going to KC with Andy Reid. I mean, he's a phenom, Andy Reid, as a coach, and being able to not only play but also get a ring. I mean, he's got every accolade you can think of except Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? And that's coming.
We talked about it
that's
last
coming.
week.
Yeah,
he was
that's
at
coming.
the ESPYs.
Yeah, I mean, he's at the ESPYs. This guy's, so then and it's funny because I see him, Tyreem at some point. They're going to be together. They'll be. I'm even calling
That jersey swap is going to be all time.
call that out.
That jersey swap at the end of a game is going to be all time.
Awesome. So I can't wait. I'm so proud of all them kids. Jamil, Pop, all our guys, man. Even guys that didn't. Of course, there's guys that we had that didn't go to the league. But played football at a high level. Noah Sandstone. Who else did we have in the fray?
Otis
my
Harold's
goodness.
still
Otis
at
Harold is
FDU,
still
running
at
it back,
FDU.
which is great to see. He's playing again.
Yeah, Naheem Anderson. I mean, come on, man. We have a bunch of talent in Vineland. And again, I say to the community, if we keep our kids here, we can do special things. Stop sending our kids away. Stop it.
Levi came into the fold, went to Sacred Heart.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, we keep our kids in Vineland, we'll build something special. We keep sending our kids away to these private schools. It's a shame, you know what I mean? It really is. And I understand too, some people, they want, the best for their kids. Well, Have some faith in your child that that child is going to want the best for himself, and he's going to make it happen. Whether you send him to a public school, a private school, or whatever school, he's going to make it happen. Have some faith in your own child. You know what I mean?
100%. And, I mean, you look at our alumni right now, both in college, at the pros, like, it's just fun to watch along. And then you click on the box score and you see Vineland, New Jersey on there, and it's like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's just, again, you know, I can't emphasize enough, you know, we keep it Vineland, we'll build some special things here, man. We really will. And it's just a matter of the community really believing in their children, knowing that they built a foundation for their child the way that they should have. So there should be no fear. I mean, again, you know, and I'm just using myself an example. You know, I could have gone to a private school, but I wanted to win something with my friends, not people I don't know and I've never been around. Oh, okay, I'll just jump on this ship because this ship is, you know, sailing with the best of the best. That's easy, man. That's easy
I'd
pickings.
rather be on a pirate ship than a cruise ship.
Yes. Like, you know, build your own thing. Make your own mark. You don't need no one else to build anything with. Do it yourself with your friends and your people. You know what I mean? It's, in my opinion, it just means more. You know, the chips that I won in Hamilton, I won them with my buddies. Like, I could have gone to St. Joe. I could have gone to St. Augustine. I could have gone to Holy Spirit. No, for what? I don't know the people over there. And, you know, no disrespect to them, but these are my buddies. They're from Hamilton. So I'm going to win something in Hamilton, and we did. You
Plain
know,
and simple.
Get plain and simple. You stay home, you reap the rewards. You go away, you might not even play. You might not.
And if you win at home, you're a hometown hero forever.
You go. Listen, I go over there to this day. Hey, Coach, hey. You know, there's fat heads of us to this day. My records still stand on them walls to this day. I show my kids whenever we go down to Hamilton. I'm like, yeah, there you go. That's me. You know, so you make a mark that lasts. I mean, my God, I've been out of school. I'm 45. I mean, I've been out of school for a long time.
And you look at Jamil and Isaiah. They win Super Bowls. They come back home. Here's the key to the city.
It's key to the city. Here you go. You know what I mean? And their mark they made is forever. It'll always stand here. So when they come back home, they get treated as such, hometown heroes.
And then also shout out Isaiah doing, you know, charity events
Absolutely,
for the Chiefs during the week as
Absolutely.
well. You know, preparing for games. Taylor Swift is in the stadium and everything.
Yes.
She's going to be at MetLife this week apparently too. She's on the road with the Chiefs.
It's
I thought she just got done a world tour.
No. She's on a world tour again, man. She's on the world tour again, and rightfully so with a group of guys that you know are definitely good dudes. You know, Travis Kelce. I don't know him personally, but just his vibe that he gives off.
Unreal.
Good dude. You know, I know my family. I know Pop. Great person. You know what I mean. So I know he's not going to hang around with people that aren't vibing on his level. You know. Good people. So the people he hangs with, Kelsey and these guys, they got to be good dudes.
And Andy Reid now 4th all-time in wins as an NFL head coach.
That guy's unreal, man. I mean, the mind that guy has. I mean, he's just a guru. Offensively, defensively, he knows special teams. Hats off to that man, and he deserves it. He deserves all this good.
271 wins at the NFL level.
Now check this out. Not for nothing. I know Philly got their little thing on, but I know they're kind of like kicking themselves in the rear a little bit. Like, we let Andy go. Can't believe we let Andy go. Why?
I think it was good for both parties.
Yeah.
It was like one of those things where Andy kind of ran his course here, and then he goes to the Chiefs, gets a fresh start. The Eagles needed that fresh start. And then got the hometown hero. Doug Peterson came into the fold, Andy's underling, played quarterback here, and then got the job done. And Andy's won Super Bowls and finally got over the hump that he wasn't able to get over here. So I think it worked out in the end for both teams.
You're right.
Did you see one of my buddies posted one of the funniest with Taylor Swift in the fold.
Right.
There's a picture back in the day of Taylor Swift posed with somebody in a Lorax costume and said, "Oh, Taylor Swift met Andy Reid this week."
That's wrong, man. Andy, man, I love you, bro. I got a belly, too. I got a belly here, too, brother. You're good.
It's all in the
You're
stash.
good.
It's
You're
all
good.
in the stash. So Taylor Swift might end up selling MetLife out again this week. Did you also see Travis Kelce's jersey sales?
Probably phenomenal.
400%.
Swifties.
Swifties
grabbed it.
The Swifties are learning football.
Quick.
That is one of the funniest things that I've seen on social media this week is Swifties learning the sport of football. And it's being broken down like nuance by nuance. And Jason and Travis broke it down on New Heights this week of
unreal,
what a
right?
down is. And in my head, I'm like, it's a down. That's what it is.
Down, that's all
It's a down. You get 4 down. Like, I don't know
not
how to
as
break it
simple
down
as-
easier. It was great.
Transparency, guys. It's just a down.
So, Pop, if you want to give us the hookup with T-Swizz, let us know.
You know I love you, Pop. I just leave it at that. I leave it at that. That's it. I don't say nothing.
Shout out to our alumni. Coach, final thoughts going into Washington Township, how we look and feel and playing. You know, is the jersey set as we're here later in the week than we usually are? How we looking to present to the hometown fans this week?
I think the color combo is going to be right on par. You know, we're coming out with and I'm going to leave that, again, that hanging low fruit.
That means come to the game.
That means come to the
Come
game.
endure the elements.
Just bring a poncho. You'll be fine.
Exactly.
You'll be more than fine. It's not going to be nothing crazy, I don't think. I think it's going to be more of this, all this drizzle and just mist. But it is going to be a little ugly out. But a little poncho, get yourself some hot chocolate. You'll be more than fine.
Final thoughts going into this game. What are you looking
Final
forward
thoughts.
to? And talk to the people.
My final thoughts are real simple. Our kids are going to come out as they always do. They're going to give their 100%. They're going to give the community what they deserve. A game that's played, smash mouth football, a clean smash mouth football game, and they're going to give everything they got, and they're going to leave it on the field. So expect a lot of hard hitting going on during this one. Believe you me.
It's a new era rivalry, a next chapter with Washington Township coming up 6 p.m. kickoff.
6 p.m. kickoff.
At Gatone Stadium.
Senior night.
Senior night. Come
Senior
on out
night.
and support the seniors. And big thank you to Allen Associates and the Double Eagle Saloon and Deck Bar for supporting the show and sponsoring the show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel as well, which is where you get Guzman's Gridiron in video form so you can watch the show every single week. That's youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Big thank you to the Red and Gray Gridiron Group as well for presenting the show. And this has been another episode of Guzman's Gridiron presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Coach Guz, I'm KB. Let's go Vineland, and hopefully we'll be back here on Monday talking about a big win in this new era rivalry. Enjoy the game, everybody, and we'll see you on Monday.